Hey, I'm Terry42, and in this video I'll be showing you the best block palettes for medieval houses. Let's go! Okay, this first block palette is relatively simple, and that makes it particularly good when you're in survival and you've got limited resources. It's just got oak wood, oak planks and cobblestone. And for all of these I've done this simple kind of wall design with one kind of texture pattern at the bottom. I've done stone for all of these, but doesn't mean you have to, and then wood at the top with a window in the centre. I like to outline kind of the structure of this kind of house with the logs. I just think it gives it a bit more solidity and kind of brings the whole design together. This next one's pretty similar, just using spruce, so good when you're starting out in a spruce biome. Again, with the lantern, you don't have to use lanterns. I mean, especially if you're in survival, it works pretty well with torches, but if you have the resources, I personally think that lanterns look just a little bit cleaner and nicer. Okay, on to the next one. Now we're getting into some of my personal favourites. First up, we have this stone and andesite combination, which I think works really well, along with the stripped oak, which is probably my favourite wood type in the game. I mean, kind of any log and then the stripped version just work really well, as you can see with the spruce and then the oak as well. So just pretty simple block palettes, but the blocks complement each other really well, especially with this kind of outline and two-layered design. And I think the lanterns work particularly well in this one. I'm not sure what it is. I think it's just something about the slightly more refined textures that just really complement the lanterns. Another good block choice for the stone area on this base is stone bricks and stone. Pretty simple blocks, but just they do work together and kind of looks a bit more handcrafted or structured than some of the other more kind of natural and raw stones. And again with the stripped, I think when you use these, kind of the opposites for the darker logs work very well. Like here we have spruce and dark oak, and here we have stripped spruce and solid dark oak. Sometimes when you combine the stripped version with the dark oak, and kind of similar with spruce, they work pretty well, but I just think in some ways the kind of opposing tones also work pretty well with these particular ones. This is, without a doubt, my favourite block palette for this kind of build. But first, let me show you my second favourite. Stripped birch and oak. I just think the two work really well, and kind of the lighter tone just complements the highlights in the oak log textures. Again with the lanterns, which I think work well. And it's difficult to see on such a small area, but stone, cobblestone and stone bricks all together can work really well. I'll show you a slightly better example of that in a second. But first, once I've shown you this little palette, onto my favourite, spruce and stripped oak. I just think the kind of burnt umber colour works super well here, and the darker tones, just really nice vibrancy to the build. And again, with the stone bricks and cobble, just a nice kind of texture variation. And here it is. And as you can probably see in the top right of the screen, I built a whole house using these textures. This is a good chance for you to see the block palette kind of come together in a whole build, and I think definitely the stone is a bit more obvious the way it works when you see it on a larger scale. Spruce, I've used spruce to kind of do the roof and details because I think it complements the wood outlining as well, and I think it actually works quite well with stripped oak too. Lanterns around the edges just to add some interest and lighting, and of course some lovely white stained glass windows, which I think really give it a really medieval kind of vibe and a lovely sort of look to the build. We go in through the doors. It's a pretty simple interior, just some storage and survival workbenches and things. Spruce again for the flooring, ladder with a nice little area of carpet, and I think the roof it even works well from the underneath. Kind of, you can close this off, but I quite like the shaping it gives. And the stained glass doesn't really obscure the view too much. I think it just works well and makes it not feel like a modern house made of wood. It really does complete the medieval feel. Just repair the window. Not sure what happened there. And the main problem with a build like this is the direction of the wood. Getting the direction of the wood right can be really problematic. You can see even here, there's just a few areas where you could kind of go either way. I've used some of the 6-sided logs, but they're pretty expensive if you're playing in survival, so you might just have to find a nice way to do it. If I just take this out, the best way I found when I built a house like this in survival was to come down between the windows, like this, and then across above and below. I think the textures work quite well, but equally you could of course bring that right across and just have the central one, but I just think it looks a bit out of place when there's only one, so I'm going to leave it like that for now. So all there is left to say is thank you for watching. I do hope you enjoyed, and if you found it useful, maybe consider subscribing. I'm definitely planning to make some more videos like this, so keep an eye out for those. But for now, I'll just say goodbye and see you next time.